Until the emperor saw his ex-wife who had divorced him 6 years ago had married and given birth. He was instantly filled with immense grief and couldn't calm down for a long time. Thinking back to 6 years ago when he was still the crown prince, the two of them were once a loving couple. Unfortunately, the crown prince had an affair with her best friend. Even though the crown prince repeatedly explained that he had no choice, the betrayed woman still used a knife to injure his hand. In her rage, she handed over the divorce papers, swearing to never see each other again in this lifetime. But the crown prince had no idea. At that time, the woman was already pregnant with his child. After the woman returned to her maternal home, her situation was difficult. Her father and stepmother joined forces to force her to replace her deceased sister and marry her current husband. Fortunately, this brother-in-law had a deep love for his late wife. Not only did he help her keep the child's identity a secret, for many years he treated her with respect and never crossed the line. 6 years later, the old emperor passed away and the crown prince ascended the throne as the new emperor. When the woman's mother-in-law heard this news, she feared the emperor would hold a grudge against her family because of the woman. So she hurriedly stuffed a divorce paper to her, forcing her to leave. Although the woman was full of reluctance towards her husband, she was unwilling to implicate him, so she set off on the road to escape overnight with her daughter. But when the woman's husband learned the news of her leaving, he chased after her on a fast horse to keep her. It turned out that the two of them had already fallen in love with each other during their time together. The mother-in-law saw her son insist on bringing her back home. Although she was furious, there was nothing she could do, because the emperor's decree had already arrived, ordering their entire family to enter the capital immediately. The woman knew in her heart that this was her ex-husband's revenge. The next day, the family could only move to the capital. Little did they know the emperor had long been waiting there. When he witnessed the warm scene of the woman's family of three, complex emotions surged in his heart. Everyone thought the woman must regret her decision. After all, her ex-husband was now the emperor, but she was actually grateful for her current simple life, not wanting to have any ties with her ex-husband at all. But fate stirred up waves again. The current Empress Dowager turned out to be the woman's own aunt, and the emperor was not the Empress Dowager's biological son. So the Empress Dowager wanted the woman to approach the emperor again. After giving birth to an imperial bloodline to consolidate power, the empress came at this time with the princess to pay respects. On the surface, she was greeting the Empress Dowager. In fact, she was showing off her success in stealing her husband in front of her former sister. The woman didn't want to get entangled with her, so she excused herself, saying she was unwell, and left early. But just on her way out of the palace, she ran into her ex-husband, the emperor. Meeting again after 7 years, their identities were now vastly different. The eunuch beside her saw her lack of etiquette, scolding her to kneel down and pay respects immediately, while the emperor gently stroked his old wound, really wanting to know if the woman regretted it now. Who knew the woman left without looking back, just like that year? That stubborn back view occupied his heart once again. Then the emperor punished the eunuch who was rude to his ex-wife. The woman thought the storm had finally passed. Unexpectedly, as soon as she returned home, the servant ran over in a panic to report her daughter had been taken away by people from the palace. The woman immediately guessed it was the empress's doing. For the safety of her daughter, she could only enter the palace again to beg her ex-husband, the emperor. Little did she know when she went this time, her fate would also change as a result.